Okay, a very good morning and welcome back to MACCfm, my anti-corruption channel's a special Thursday session here during the, it's supposed to be the Tamil slot, Virundina slot on a Thursday morning from 11 to 1. But nevertheless, we have a special surprise, a special delegation, someone very special, very close to the MACC who is here with us, and he is none other than Mr. Simon Pei, who is the commissioner of ICAC Hong Kong, and together with him is his delegation from ICAC Hong Kong, and they are here on an official visit, and I would more coin it as your M&M visit. Because I read through your press release, your ICAC Hong Kong press release, and it states that you just come back from Myanmar, and now it's Malaysia. So you've got an M&M visit. So it's quite nice, chocolatey and quite sweet. Nevertheless, so here we have to listeners of MACCfm a very special interview session that we are going to conduct now, and have an insight on what the initiatives of the ICAC Hong Kong, and for listeners out there, you might be thinking, what is this ICAC, ABCD and so on and so forth. But basically it's representing the Independent Commission Against Corruption of Hong Kong. And for listeners out there, ICAC Hong Kong is synonym to anti-corruption wherever in the world, and so welcome and very good morning, Mr. Simon.
Good morning.
Welcome to MACCfm. It's an honor. It's really wonderful to have you as well as your delegation here, and we'll start off with this interview, a very special interview. I think you're the first chief commissioner or chief of an anti-corruption agency to visit MACCfm. So it's a wonderful first. So that's nice. Now, my first question to you, Commissioner, is basically something very personal, and you may want to go back to your childhood, or it could be your childhood, could be your during your tertiary or during your education period. Well, my question is very simple. What led you to pursue a career in anti-corruption? Basically, was it destiny? Was it a dream come true? Was it something that was it based on a principle or a teaching that led you to becoming? Because I think prior to becoming the commissioner at ICAC, you were leading the immigration department of Hong Kong. So what led you to all this enforcement kind of thing, which is so highly principled, and please share your thoughts on this.
Okay, thank you for your question. Actually, my career was in the immigration department, mm-hmm. and I joined the immigration department of Hong Kong after I graduated from university, and I have worked there for almost 33 years. Oh. And I was before my retirement, I was the director of immigration, and actually I retired in 2011, and after that I was appointed as the commissioner of ICAC, and actually the commissioner of ICAC is not a career because first of all, you cannot apply for that job.
Okay.
Yeah, there is no venue for you to apply. It is an appointment by the government, mm-hmm. Actually by my chief executive, and appointed by the Central People's Government in Beijing. Mm-hmm. So normally the term is 5 years. Right. But I have just started my second term in July last year. So to answer your question, this is not a career.
And is there anything? Upon receiving this appointment, because it's a huge responsibility. You're fighting corruption, and we all know what you call that corruption is a huge threat. Whether it's to the social layer, whether it's to the economic layer of a nation, and so on and so forth. And you are holding this big, huge responsibility. Now, is there something that that becomes a guiding light to you in taking up this big, huge responsibility as the chief, or I would say, the number one graft buster in Hong Kong?
I should have stated this. Actually, the commissioner in ICAC usually have a term of maybe 3, 4, 5 years in the past, and usually it will be taken up by an administrative officer or by officer with adequate experience in the government. And of course, anti-corruption work to me is something new. I know very little about anti-corruption in my career, I would say, in immigration. Of course, we have regular contact with the ICAC when I was working in the immigration.
Right.
But when I become the commissioner, it's a new area for me. And that's first thing. Second thing, I think personal integrity is very important to be the commissioner, because everybody will see you as an icon of integrity in Hong Kong, as well as the commissioners, the whole commission. So Hong Kong people see ICAC as an icon of integrity. It's very, very important.
Okay. Now coming back to your visit here, you're on a visit, visiting two countries, Myanmar and Malaysia. You just concluded Myanmar, and now you are here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And could you just share with us, is it give us a glimpse of how important are such international engagements? Are they based on a prior requirement, or is it something? Is it an initiative that you yourself heading ICAC, or even by others, other anti-corruption leaders, take up such international engagements as a way forward for anti-corruption agencies around the world to fight corruption? Is it something due to something that is happening internationally, or is it something that you would do in the course of the normal course of engagement? What would this visit land upon?
For Malaysia, for MACC and Hong Kong ICAC, we have a long time relationship, and this time to visit MACC just to renew the relationship and to visit the new headquarters. Also, I think it's paved way for future experience sharing between officers of the two agencies. And for the other countries in the Southeast Asia, actually I have visited a few before, for example, Indonesia, and in future I may visit some few other countries in Southeast Asia. And as you may know, that actually the fight against corruption is a common aim of leaders of state parties. In a recent conference in the UN, and also under the UNCAC, we have the responsibility to assist other members in do their job better. So in this connection, we actually are offering training to other countries. They are willing to accept, and on a mutual agreement basis. Just now I have visited Myanmar, and we have come to some initial discussion about whether Hong Kong can provide some training in anti-corruption to their anti-corruption agencies. So similarly, this will be offered to other Southeast Asia country, their anti-corruption agencies, if they're willing to discuss with us.
Right. So more on human capital development. And what about in terms of operations and prevention work? Are there any any views as well as any opportunities, to see some what you call collaboration, or even exchange of ideas, or even training in these areas where one could share experiences to see a better fight against corruption amongst anti-corruption agencies?
Yeah, we used to have a lot of exchange with anti-corruption agencies around the world, and there are regular meetings among them. And lately, I have just shared with the Chief Commissioner. It seems that the more sought after areas are the forensic accounting, the asset recovery,
Yes.
Computer forensics. These areas, I think it is more sought after areas in operations. And in terms of community relations, and we are actually in the last 2 or 3 years we shift more to the new media. And shifting to the new media is not just a change of platform, but the contents are also different. So, for example, probably we are making a cartoon or a drama, half an hour drama, 1 hour drama. Now we have to cut short to 30 seconds. But we need to present a complete story within 30 seconds. This is something new. So
And very challenging.
It's very challenging.
Yeah, how do you piece in what you call the attention span in just a short 30 second?
So I think this is a mindset change.
Uh-huh.
So we have tried that out, and so we have some experience to share with colleagues in other anti-corruption agencies.
I see. Okay. That's interesting, because I think even the world of what you call advertising and what you call branding, they're moving into new media, and it's becoming a big approach. It's a new platform. It's a much renewed platform. Coming back to this international engagement, in terms of I'll just get some insights, or not insights, your point of view of what do you see in terms of what do you call, not exactly the level of corruption internationally, but how is the scenario, and what do you think what do you call agencies like anti-corruption agencies and other government agencies and the stakeholders, what should be the role, or what should be the way forward in combating corruption?
Generally speaking, because I have just read the report of the Transparency International, the latest report, their comment is that even though the leaders of state parties are very serious about anti-corruption work, but generally in the last 12 months or so, the general situation around the world is deteriorating in terms of corruption. So I think this is a big concern. Big concern. So we need to put more efforts and work together more closely to fight corruption. Of course, corruption is not something standalone. It is closely related to the political situation, the social environment, the economic situation, as well as cultural situation. So it is different from one place to another. So there is no one-size-fits-all models or theories. So I just told you that we are providing training to other anti-corruption agency, and this will be some kind of a tailor-made because of their situation. Every situation is different, and their priorities are different, and their needs are different. So that will be a tailor-made training for each agency. So I think there's something very important. We should not assume that there is one module. When you take up that module, problem will be solved.
Yes, because you have different scenarios, different
Yeah,
environment,
yeah,
different
yes.
people, different mindset, and so on. And of course, nowadays, cross-border is so easily accessible.
Yes.
As such, we have to be much more vigilant,
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Okay. Lastly, what you call the question is coming back to ICAC's initiatives and specifically in the areas of prevention and education. You had mentioned that new media, your approach to new media is now something new and something challenging. Apart from that, are there any other groundbreaking initiatives that you have initiated back in Hong Kong, or even something that is generic enough for the world community to pick up and maybe emulate ICAC Hong Kong's initiatives?
Okay, we actually, when we talk about corruption prevention in Hong Kong, we separate it into two areas. One is education, you have mentioned. The other is actually the prevention. The prevention work is kind of a examination done by our officers on initially the government departments on their systems, on their procedures,
Policies.
operations, and to find out the loopholes, corruption loopholes, and we will make recommendations for them to plug that loophole.
Right.
So over the last 44 years, we have been examining all the government departments again and again and again. Of course, they have new operations, new laws, new initiatives, and now the practice is that before the new initiatives or policies are launched, officers will give comments from a corruption prevention angle.
Oh, so it'll be reviewed by the ICAC Hong Kong.
Yes, yes. So that to make sure that there will not be any loopholes, even though it is first launched.
I see.
And we are moving this to the, you may say, quasi-government bodies, NGOs. They are using government public money,
Yes.
and as well as the private sector, because we anti-corruption work in Hong Kong, we cover both the public and the private sector. And for the private sector, we do not have the authority in law to examine the procedures and systems. But more and more private sectors are willing to come forward to us for our service.
Consultative.
A consultative service. That's the free of charge service for them. And this is good for the companies, for their prevention of any unnecessary loss in profits, as well as their reputation.
Yeah, especially in the wake of the introduction of ISO 37001,
Yes.
the ABMS
Yes.
module. Okay, wonderful, wonderful insights, wonderful thing. One last request, Commissioner, is can you share a message, a take-back message for our listeners of MACCfm?
Okay, I hope that all the audience will support the MACC in fighting corruption in Malaysia.
Thank you very much. There you go, listeners of MACCfm, my anti-corruption channel, here on a wonderful Thursday morning. A special interview by a very special person, Mr. Simon Pei, who is the Commissioner of ICAC Hong Kong. And, you could hear a repeat of this anytime during the day. So all you need to do is keep vigil and log on, and always log on to www.MACCfm. If you want to catch up with the interviews, whether it's scheduled or not, that we don't know, but if you keep logging on to us, then you will know. So once again, thank you very much, Mr. Simon, and on behalf of MACCfm and MACC, all the best to ICAC Hong Kong, and let's just keep fighting corruption together and make the world a better place.
Thank you very much.
Okay.